Right, I'm going to tell you a story today, and I've got a vague idea of where I'm going to go with the story. All right, I've got a vague idea. I just need to tell you one thing before I start. I just need to explain something just to help the whole thing work. All right, so let's see. I'm going to tell you about a phrase. It doesn't really directly relate to to what's going to happen in the story, I expect, but you need to know this phrase in order for the story to make some sense at the end. Okay, I don't want to build it up too much because it could be a massive anticlimax at the end, but nevertheless you do need to know this phrase in order to kind of get an idea of where I'm hoping to go with this story. Okay, so the phrase is, I've found God and I'm a born again Christian. Okay, now you might be thinking, what? Let me explain. It's just a phrase that people say sometimes. To find God, that means when you, let's say some people, they go through their lives, they're not very religious, and then one day they find God. That means that suddenly they get faith in their lives, right? They suddenly realise that they believe in God. So they find God and they become a Christian, right, at that stage. To find God is to be converted to Christianity. And these people who kind of become Christians later on in life, rather than being baptized or christened as a child, they sort of discover God later on in their lives. Sometimes they're called born-again Christians, because the moment that they find God is like the moment when they are born again, they start again. So a born-again Christian is someone who's found God and they've suddenly discovered a whole new lease on life. Okay, now don't worry, this isn't going to be a sort of religious episode, exactly. I just need you to know that phrase so that when we get to the end of this story, it's going to make vague sense. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to start the story in just a second. You're probably thinking, come on, Luke, get on with it. All right, I will in just a moment. The other thing I wanted to say was that... I'm making up this story, but it is based loosely on a joke. The joke, if you tell it normally, will take about 2 minutes. I'm going to try and make the joke last for the whole episode. I don't know how long it will be. We'll have to just wait and see. That was a bit of poetry there. I'm a poet, and I didn't know it. I don't know how long it'll be. We'll just have to wait and see. See, the poetry has already begun. It's time to begin the story, and... you might not know this, you might not realise, but I used to be a prawn. It's true. I used to be a shrimp. I used to live in the sea in another life, not in this life. Obviously now I'm a human man, but I used to, in a past life, I used to be a prawn. You know what a prawn is? A shrimp. You get them on pizzas sometimes. Unfortunately, I don't go for the prawn-based pizzas myself. But anyway, a prawn, it's like a little crustacean that lives in the ocean, right? They're pink, and people eat them, right? Yeah, okay, you know what I mean. They've got eyes that stick out on little stalks, little black eyes that stick out. Some people don't like to eat them because when you see a prawn or shrimp on your plate, it looks like the shrimp is looking at you with a sort of accusatory expression on its face, like, how dare you? How dare you eat me? I'm just an innocent little prawn, and some evil fisherman pulled me out of the ocean and put me on this plate, and now you're going to eat me. How dare you? You know, they do look at you with that kind of attitude. But anyway, I used to be a prawn in a past life. I must have been a pretty good prawn because obviously I was reincarnated into a man, and not just any man, Luke from Luke's English podcast. So I must have been a good prawn because I got reincarnated, which I do wonder about. I mean, what does the concept of reincarnation? This is basically the idea that when an animal dies or a person dies, they come back in another life. And because of karma, because of like the law of karma, if you lead a very good life, a very moral life, then when you come back, you can be reincarnated as a higher level being, okay? And if you continue to do good things and lead a very good life, you keep being reincarnated as a higher level being until eventually you reach a kind of ultra status. You kind of you get promoted to the European Champions League of consciousness, let's say, and you get to nirvana, not the rock band, but just a general state of perfection, right? That's the goal, if you believe in reincarnation, that kind of thing. So, which does make me think, if you do get reincarnated, I mean, like, let's say animals, like even animals very low down in the hierarchy, right? What does a worm, for example, have to do in order to be reincarnated as a higher level animal? You know? What I mean, how many moral choices does a worm really have to face on a daily basis? Is the worm kind of going, oh, shall I sort of eat this bit of mud or that bit of mud? You know, if the worm eats this bit of mud, is it going to just come back as an amoeba? Or if the worm eats that bit of mud, is it going to graduate to becoming like a caterpillar with legs or something? You know what I mean? And like, what is the hierarchy? Is it that some animals are higher on the hierarchy than others? For example, dolphins. You'd imagine a dolphin to be pretty high up on the hierarchy, wouldn't you? But you know, are they higher than like a dog or what? You know, like who decides the order of the animals in this hierarchy? Anyway, never mind that. I used to be a prawn until, you know, I was reincarnated as a human. I'm assuming that I was a good prawn, and I'm assuming that being a human is considered to be better than being a prawn. I don't know. I don't know how many prawn rapists there are, for example. I mean, humans can do pretty bad things. Who says that humans are the best? Maybe prawns are as good as it gets because they're not out there doing kind of bank robberies and things, are they? No, they're not torturing each other in concentration camps. No, they're not. So maybe the prawns are the good guys. Anyway, never mind that. I used to be a prawn. I used to live in the ocean. I was happy. I was really happy as a prawn. I had a good life. I used to swim around the coral reef, just sort of swaying around in the water. It was beautiful. It was a great time. I had a family. I had like prawn friends. We used to kind of go swimming. It was really good. I mean, we had to go swimming. As a prawn, swimming is not a hobby, is it? It's not something you do just for fun. It's like, what should we do this weekend? Let's go swimming. It's like, okay, well, we're already swimming. How do we go swimming from this position? You have to like swim out of the door, swim to the swimming baths. Maybe for prawns, like the equivalent of swimming is to just jump out of the sea and just to be in the air for a bit. Maybe that's the equivalent of swimming for a prawn. It's just sort of like flying through the air. I don't know. I don't think so, because we don't often see prawns doing that, do we? No, we don't. And anyway, I used to have a lovely life as a prawn in the ocean, and I had a best friend. His name was Christian. That's right. Best friend called Christian. Christian was a good prawn. Really, really, very good prawn. Me and Christian, we used to be the best of friends. We used to spend lots of time together. I used to have a family, and you know, I used to go to prawn school. Good times, great times. Anyway, once I was just sort of like hanging around by the coral reef with Christian, just hanging around by the coral reef, and Christian and I decided to just go off and just go swimming out into the ocean. We did that sometimes as an adventure. Let's see what we can find. We'll probably find some water, right? So we went out swimming in the ocean, and we used to see like jellyfish and other jellyfish, just lots of jellyfish, really. It was mainly jellyfish. That's what we used to see. But one day we came across this little area down on the seabed, little area down on the seabed there, and there's a few little stones and things, and there was this little stone house. It's a little stone house. Someone had made a little house of stone, and so we swam over and was like, oh, this is nice, little stone house. You'd imagine that would be built by a person, but no, the owner of the house swam over, and it was this sort of long fish with like whiskers, and it was a cod, right? A cod, like it's a type of fish. If you eat fish and chips in England, it's probably going to be cod or haddock. So it's just a fairly common fish. But there was this long cod there, and he swam over to us, and he said, hello. He had that voice, okay? He sounded a bit like maybe some other characters that I've done on Luke's English podcast before. Hello, little prawns. How are you? And we said, oh, hello, Mr. Cod. We're good, thanks. We're fine. We're having a lovely time swimming around the ocean. I like your house. That's nice, isn't it? Yes, so I made it myself. That's interesting, Mr. Cod. I wonder how you made that, considering you don't have hands, and it looks like it's designed to be used by humans. I mean, that design, the front door, the walls, the windows, that really does suit the human being. So it's interesting that you built that. Yes, you ask lots of strange questions, don't you? Well, I'm just curious. Anyway, Mr. Cod, we've never met you before. How do you do? I'm fine, thank you. You haven't really worked out the voice for yourself yet, have you? No, I haven't. Okay, Mr. Cod. Shall I just give you a couple of minutes so you can work out what kind of voice you have? Just Christian and me, we'll talk between us, and we'll let you think about what kind of voice you have, so that, I mean, we imagine that you might play quite a large part in this story. So I think that you should probably work out like a consistent voice, and a voice which not only you enjoy doing, but that you can actually do. Okay, so just think about that, Mr. Cod. I know this sort of breaks the narrative of the story, but I think it's important to get your voice right. And the cod goes, he's just thinking, like that, because he hasn't worked out his voice. So I said to Christian, this cod guy is a bit weird, isn't he? Doesn't have a normal voice and just lives out in this little stone house all on his own at the bottom of the sea like this. This is a bit weird. Normally cod hang around in groups. Maybe this is a special cod. This must be a special magical cod. That's the only solution. Since we don't know anything else about him, we can only assume that he's a magical special cod, right? And at that point, the cod came back over, and I said to Christian, I hope that he's worked out his voice. I hope that he's worked out the voice. He really should just choose a voice, but he needs to probably have a voice which is sort of magical in some way. And Christian turned to me and said, "This is the first time I've spoken in this story." And I said to Christian, "Yeah, that's true, isn't it? You haven't spoken. God, you need to have a voice as well." And Christian said, "Well, can't I just have the same voice as you, because I'm a prawn as well, so same species, we're probably going to have a similar voice." And I said to him, "Well, yeah, you say that, but like humans, we're all the same species, and we have many different accents, don't we? All sorts of different accents between the humans, and they're all the same species." And Christian said, "Aye, right, aye, that's true, isn't it? Well, I'm sort of, okay, I'll work on it. Okay, right, I've got it, Luke, I've got it. I'm going to be slightly northern, okay? I'm just sort of generically northern, maybe from Manchester, something like that. I'm not too different to your voice, but I'm just different enough for it to be noticeable, because I'm a little bit northern. Maybe a bit of a stereotype. Maybe some people who come from the north of England, Manchester, for example, might be listening to this thinking, oh, that's a slightly stereotypical northern accent. It's not very specific. To do a decent regional UK accent, you've got to make it very specific, and that's just sort of broadly northern, isn't it? Okay, Christian, good. You've got your voice now. Oh, look, here comes the cod, and let's ask the cod a question again. Let's hope that he's sorted himself out. And the cod came over, and we said, "Hello, cod. So, how are you feeling?" And the cod said, I'm fine, thank you, and I've decided that
I've decided that I'm going to speak in this kind of voice. Okay, good. So, I see that you're a couple of prawns. That's fascinating. Prawn and another prawn. 2 prawns, in fact. Shrimp. Another word for you, just in case the listeners hadn't identified that. Couple of shrimp. Okay, now then, what can I do for you? Couple of prawns, shrimp. One of you's called Christian, I believe. I did pick that up. I was listening. The other one, what's your name? And I took this as an opportunity to introduce myself. And I said, hello, Mr. Cod. My name's Luke, and I'm Luke the Prawn. In the future, I'm going to become Luke from Luke's English Podcast. Don't ask me how I know that. I just do because, well, okay, I looked in my tea leaves. I was drinking tea one day, and I looked at the tea leaves at the bottom of the cup, okay, because you can tell the future if you look at tea leaves as they rest at the bottom of your cup, you know, when you've finished your tea. Never mind the fact that this is in the ocean, and it's impossible to drink a cup of tea under the sea, and prawns, well, they haven't really developed the ability to drink tea at this stage. But nevertheless, I was drinking my tea and I looked at the tea leaves and I could see quite clearly a prediction of the future. And in fact, the tea leaves had arranged themselves in the form of a sentence. And the sentence said, you are going to become an award-winning podcaster for learners of English. And you're going to tell some ridiculous stories. You're probably going to alienate some of your listeners. In fact, if you were slightly more business-minded, you'd probably focus your talent more effectively in order to reach a broader audience, and then put advertising on your website in order to make some money, and then you'd be able to keep doing this. But you might do that eventually. It's just taking your time. The thing is, you seem to enjoy doing these slightly ridiculous ad-libbed stories just to appeal to a narrow margin of your audience. But that's fine. That's what's going to happen. So I read all of that in my tea leaves. That's how I know that in the future I'm going to become Luke from Luke's English Podcast. And the card said, well, that really is fascinating. That is really interesting. Now, let me tell you something, Mr. Luke and Christian. It's very fortunate of you to come through these parts. Not many of your kind do venture out to the stone house where I have my magic temple. And Christian said, magic temple? What are you talking about? You've got a magic temple? And the cod said, yes, Christian, I have a magic temple because I am the magic cod. And when he said that, suddenly beams of light came from behind him. And just for a moment, it was really impressive. This cod just sort of started glowing with this amazing light. And Christian and me were like, wow, that's amazing. You're the magic cod? The magic cod that we've never heard about? And the cod said, yes, well, you may have never heard about me, but I'm immensely powerful. And I said to the cod, really? Tell us all about your powers. And the cod said, I have the power to grant you one wish, and I will make that wish come true. You can think of anything you want, and it'll come true. And I turned to Christian and said, this is amazing, Christian. It's amazing. He's going to give us a wish, and it's going to turn true. Christian turned to me, being sceptical. He said to me, well, Luke, to be honest, I get a feeling that this story's going to go, well, it could go bad. I imagine that you're going to wish for something, and then that thing's going to come true, and it's going to cause various problems, and in the end it'll be resolved in a slightly contrived punchline of some description, probably involving the fact that I'm called Christian and that is a cod. I expect that that's going to be part of the punchline, and that some of the listeners have already worked it out. Maybe the clever ones. The ones who haven't managed to work it out, they'll probably keep listening and then get it in the end, and it'll be slightly disappointing. And I said to Christian, you really do know how to sort of raise the interest and raise the excitement in an episode like this, don't you, Christian? Sarcastically, you see. And I said, anyway, this is my chance to wish for the thing that I've always wanted, Christian. The thing that I've always wanted, you know? And Christian said, what, you mean to become a shark? To become
a big great white shark, like that movie Jaws. And I said, yeah, exactly. I've always said, haven't I, Christian? I've always said I'd love to be a shark. Because they're the rulers of the sea, aren't they? The sharks. They're the coolest fish in the ocean. The sharks. They're amazing. They're movie stars. They get respect from humans. Sharks are definitely the coolest. And Christian said, well, to be honest, I prefer killer whales myself. I think they're cooler than sharks. And I said, never mind your killer whales. No, it's all about sharks. So I turned immediately tried to speak English. It's difficult to speak English when you're a prawn. You don't, it's the mandibles. They get in the way of, being able to pronounce words effectively. So I turned to the cod and I said, I know exactly what I want, cod. I know the wish. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. I want you to turn me into a shark. I want to become a great white shark. I think it would be amazing. I'd love to go and impress my friends and family with my, all my power and my big sharp teeth. They'd be so impressed. Everyone's going to be impressed. All the girl prawns are going to fancy me because I'm going to be this big, awesome, dangerous shark. Everyone's going to think I'm amazing if I become a shark. And the cod said, then your wish is my command, and you shall become a shark. And there was like suddenly a big wave rolled through the ocean, and immediately I got this sense of power. Immediately I just sensed that I could just rule the ocean. I looked around, I swam around, suddenly I've got the sense of speed. For the first time, I was able to swim at massive velocity with very little effort due to the amazing aerodynamic shape of my new shark body. I swam around a few times. I swam around the cod and Christian. I swam around and around, and I swam in, and I came up to the cod and Christian. I said, "This is amazing! I feel so powerful. It's incredible being a shark. It's absolutely amazing." And I looked down at Christian and the cod, and they were both terrified. You should have seen Christian's little face. Should have seen his little prawn face. He was looking up at me with those little eyes on sticks, looking up at me, just terrified at this massive monster that I'd become. Absolutely terrified he was. And I said, "What's the matter, Christian? It's me. It's Luke from Luke's English Podcasts. I'm just a shark. It's better. I'm better than I used to be a prawn, and now I'm a shark. Isn't it brilliant?" And Christian just looked at me terrified. He couldn't even speak. He was so scared. And he just shot off, just flew off as fast as his little prawn legs could take him. He just disappeared. I was like, Christian, wait, where are you going? But he'd gone. And I turned back to speak to the cod. The cod had disappeared. No trace at all. No sign of that fish anywhere to be found. I looked inside the little stone house, this pointless stone house, which didn't really impact on the story at all. I looked inside, nothing. The cod had gone. Suddenly, I was alone. I was an awesome predator fish, but I was on my own. And I thought, well, there's only one thing for it. I better enjoy my time as a great white shark, and let's have a bit of fun with this. But I'm not sure I like it because, well, I didn't like the way Christian responded. That's a bit funny. Maybe he's just sort of rushing home to tell everyone about how brilliant I am. Yeah, that must be it. He must be just so impressed, and he's gone to tell everyone. That'll be it. So I thought, okay, well, it's probably just a good chance for me to just get on with the story. And so I just swam off into the ocean. I thought, this is it. This is brilliant. I can do whatever I want. I'm a shark, and I'm badass, okay? I'm like the Terminator of the ocean. This is brilliant. And I swam around, and I saw in the distance a few fish. I thought, I know, I'll go over. I saw some tuna fish. I thought, I'll go over there and I'll impress these tuna fish. Because, I like flirting with tuna fish. Because the tuna fish, they're quite good fun. So I went over and I swam over to these tuna fish. I was like, hey, tuna fish, check me out. I'm a shark. And the tuna fish took one look at me and just disappeared in the other direction. They just swam away as fast as they could. I was like, wait a minute, wait, I
I wanted to flirt with you. I'm a shark. You don't need to worry. It's just me. It's Luke from Luke's English Podcast. No? But the tuna fish were long gone. I thought, I'm not sure I'm enjoying being a shark. This isn't much fun. People don't seem to get it, you know. They think that I want to eat them, don't they? So I swam off a little bit more and kept swimming. And then in the distance, I noticed a boat. You know, you could see the underside of a boat. I noticed a boat. And swimming around this boat was another shark. I thought, hello, what's going on here? Another shark. Brilliant. This shark's not going to be scared of me. The shark's not going to swim away. So I swam over to the shark. Swam alongside it. It was a big shark. Swam alongside it. Started talking to it. And the shark turned to me and said, what are you doing here? I said, what do you mean? I've come over to talk to you. I'm friendly. I'm just a friendly shark. He said, don't give me that. I'm working here. All right, I'm working. I'm doing shark work. I said, what do you mean, shark? What do you mean you're working? He said, I'm on a job. I've got a job here. See up on that boat. On that boat, there's a film crew. You got Steven Spielberg on that boat. I'm working. All right, I'm in a movie. It's like, what? Really? Are you filming Jaws, the Steven Spielberg film, which features a shark in a famous role? And he said, yeah, I am, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I'm a jobbing actor. I work in movies, and this is a big one, let me tell you. That's Steven Spielberg. It's going to be good. Richard Dreyfuss is up there. This is a big role for me. I don't need you coming around spoiling it for me. This is my job. Now get out of here. And I was like, oh my God, this is kind of tough being a shark. I can't make friends with other sharks. My prawn friends don't want to talk to me. Tuna fish, who normally are such a good laugh, don't want anything to do with me. And at that moment, I decided, I'm going to swim home. I'm going to swim home and find out what's going on. I swim home. So I swam all the way home. It didn't take long because I'm a shark, you know, you can swim fast. I swam home and I found my little prawn village and I swam towards it. And I could see as I approached, I could see all the prawns just sort of disappearing into their homes. They took one look at me coming and they just all disappeared. I swam to Christian's house and... yeah, because he lived in a house. I swam to Christian's house and hung around, swam around the house saying, Christian, it's me, it's Luke. But I could see Christian just peeking out of his window with his little eyes on stalks. And he didn't want to come out. And I was like, it's Christian, it's me, it's Luke. He still didn't want to talk to me. I went to my family home and I knocked on the door. Don't ask me how I did that. I just knocked on the door with my fin. Okay, and my dad came to the door, and he's like, "Son," and I said, "Yeah, it's me." Yeah, and he said, "You're not my son." I said, "Well, of course I am. It's me. It's Luke. You're not my son. You're a big scary shark. Now get out of here." And he told me to go, and this was heartbreaking. Really heartbreaking stuff, and I thought, this is terrible. Being a shark is rubbish. No one likes me. Everyone's scared of me. No one wants to talk to me. And other sharks just feel competitive. This is terrible. I want to go back to being a shrimp. I just want to go back to my simple life of being a prawn with my eyes on sticks and lots of legs, pink. I want to be like that again. I'm going to go and find that magic fish. So I swam off into the ocean. I swam and I tried to find it. Trying to find the fish. It took me ages. I just kept swimming and I kept swimming. And eventually, after, it must have been like minutes of swimming, after like really difficult process of trying to find this magic fish, finally I found that little unnecessary stone house at the bottom of the sea. And there was the cod. There it was. And I swam over like slowly, awkwardly, you know, tentatively sort of swam over. Like, I'm just a friendly shark. I'm not going to try and eat you. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. And I kind of got within sort of shouting distance, and I said to the fish, "Oi, look, I know you're a magic cod. You're amazing. You're brilliant. But please, can you do me a favour? Can you turn me back into a prawn, please? Can you do that for me? Because being a shark's rubbish. Oh, it's terrible." I'm just really unpopular. It's awful. I know that I can swim fast, and I've got millions of years of evolution behind me, which makes me very efficient as a killer. And I've got like lots of teeth. I've got like a whole row. I've got lots of sets of teeth, which is pretty cool. I've never had this many teeth before. And I do want to eat some surfers. But anyway, could you turn me into a prawn again? Because this is no good. And the cod said, "Okay, as I told you before, your wish is my command." And he turned me back into a prawn. And immediately I just felt very vulnerable, just in the ocean, just suddenly vulnerable to other predators. And I swam down to the bottom of the sea, and I sort of managed to say to the fish, "Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I'll pay you back. I'll buy you a pint." And immediately I went back to my prawn village. And I kind of crawled along the bottom of the ocean until I got back to the prawn village. And I got to my best friend's house. And I got up to the door and I knocked on the door. And he opened it. And I said to him, Look, it's me. I've found cod. And I'm a prawn again, Christian." And Christian said to me, "Really? Really, Luke? Really? Is that what all this was leading up to? This just a chance for you to say that terrible punchline, which I imagine some of your listeners didn't really notice and may not have even picked up on. Can you say it again, Luke?" And I said to him, "Christian, what happened to your accent?" And he said, "Never mind that. Tell us what you just said." And I said, "Christian, I've found cod, and I'm a prawn again, Christian. I'm a prawn again, Christian." And Christian said, "Luke, you should be ashamed of yourself." And because that kind of contrived joke is, well, it just doesn't work, okay? People probably wanted a pink gorilla story. They didn't want a stupid, contrived undersea tale about a bunch of crustaceans in a pointless adventure with no human drama in it at all. I mean, the basics of a story should be that there's some sense of human drama. Who cares about some prawns? No humans care about prawns unless they're the main characters in a Disney Pixar animation, okay? That's the only situation in which human beings from around the world are going to care about the fortune of a prawn, even if it's you in prawn form. Basically, I think it's the eyes, because something about the eyes on little black eyes on sticks just means that we don't care about them. And I said in response to that, I said, "Look, Christian, you're cynical. You're a cynic. You might not realise that some of my listeners have understood that this is a joke, and that essentially this is a joke on the phrase that I've found God. Yeah, I know, I found God, and I'm a born again Christian. We all got it, and no one liked it. Okay, Luke, and now this is just becoming awkward." And so I said to Christian, "Well, yeah, that's as may be, but the fact is that I'm not a shark anymore, okay? I'm a prawn again." "What, are you a prawn again, Christian?" "Yeah, I'm a prawn again, Christian. And if you don't want to take it seriously, that's your problem, but I'm back now. I'm back, Christian, and your best friend is back, okay? I was a shark. I was an awesome shark with teeth and fins and evolution. And I gave it up. And why? I gave it up because I wanted to be back with my best friends. And you turn around to me and you pour scorn all over my joke. So what if it was a joke, Christian? The fact is, I gave up being a shark in order to be with you. How do you feel about that?" And Christian said, "Oh yeah, actually, now you say it, you're making me feel a little bit ashamed and emotional. And it's just good to have you back." And we hugged, and that was it. We're the best friends. We're back together again. And we said, "Hey, tonight, let's go out down the prawn pub, and I'll buy you a pint. And we'll invite the cod because I owe him one. And we'll all have a pint, and everything's going to be fine." And that was the end of the story, ladies and gentlemen.